Hello traders. Right. Firstly, apologies if I'm a bit croaky, a bit quiet. Sniff, cough and splutter. I've had a cold, maybe even I think it might be COVID, a variety of. I didn't do a test, but it's been pretty rotten for the first week, sore throat and all the bit, headaches and stuff. And then it's just turned into this weird thing that means I can't taste or smell anything. Haven't done for 3.5, nearly a month now, 3.5 weeks, nearly a month. So apologies if I sound a bit weird, and apologies for not making any new videos. I have to admit I've got 101 things that I'd like to share on here, but I made a post on Twitter. My Twitter feed is Best Forex Method, same as the YouTube channel, about the fact that really all of my stuff is directed towards newer traders. And if it sounds a bit repetitive on Twitter and even on YouTube, it's because the current YouTube channel was always about helping traders avoid the scams online. That's why I came back to YouTube actually years and years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, because I'd had a long break from social media, and I realized, and it shocked me actually how bad things had got, and I thought I might be able to make a small difference. Well, in those 6 or 7 years, it has ballooned 100 times, 1,000 times. It's worse. You know, the internet trading industry is a cesspool of degenerate people trying to flog rubbish that is, you know, decades old. So apologies for that if it sounds a bit harsh, but it's the truth. So this is aimed at newer traders that are coming into the internet and thinking trading is the holy grail of getting rich quick. It isn't. Far from it. It takes most people, if they survive, that's 5% of the people that attempt to trade. It takes them a minimum of 5 years, more likely 10. And the reason for that is because you're not learning chart patterns. You're learning about you're learning your mental game. You're training your brain to avoid the adrenaline rush after a winning trade. We can all make winning trades. We can all make fantastic winning trades, even the newbie with a couple of weeks under his belt. And that is why they load up their accounts with thousands and thousands of dollars if you're from the West. Not so much if you're in the East, of course, Asia and whatnot, but it's all relative to your income. So whether you're risking $50,000 of real money or $50 of real money on a micro account, you're still risking your wealth unnecessarily. So, as I said at the start, this is all about trying to help people prevent getting ripped off, and that's the whole reason for being here, to be honest with you, for me. And I've done everything on Twitter for the last 4.5 years since COVID, free, and consequently I've not felt I've had to polish everything I do, you know, edit the videos and make everything, give, you know, 1,000% excuse me, explanations of every trade I take and what I do and why I do it. I do intend to change that, but it will be on a one-to-one basis behind a paywall, purely because it's so time consuming, and you have to somehow screen out the people that are never going to make the grade. I hate to say that, but there are 95% that will fail. So you have to some way identify the people that are valuable to spend time with, as it were. So that's a bit of a preach on. The other thing I mentioned on Twitter this week that I really wanted to talk about, now we're getting down to the trading instead of the preach, is how much I love my template. I know if you come from all these scammers that tell you indicators don't work and whatnot and steer clear of them, I know you people will take a lot of convincing that indicators, in my opinion, are the best thing you can ever do. Believe me, I've done everything. I've done candlesticks with nothing, absolutely nothing. They call it naked charts, I think. But remember this, candlesticks are indicators. So all these, it just shows you how stupid these people are that preach you shouldn't use indicators. You're using an indicator if you use a bar, a line chart, or a candle. So, excuse me, I'm digressing a little bit away from the candles, away from the templates and so on and so forth, but this is important for new traders as well. The close of the candles, which is the line chart on any time frame, it will be the open and close of candles. The close of the candles is the most important supply and demand area, support and resistance area, not the wicks. They are just like feeler gauges, if you like. They're feeling out the sentiment of what's going on. They're taking out stops in order to go the other way. So let's just give you an example. Look, I haven't cherry picked this. I haven't checked that even. I just didn't even really notice it when I switched to the line chart. So we'll do a couple. There's one there and there's one there. Excuse me. And there's one over here. So let's just put these levels on there. I'll delete them in a moment when we go back to candles and go to line charts. And there you go. That's your line chart level. So, and that's your line chart level there. And that's your line chart level there. I could go on forever here. Let's go back to candles so you can see the 3, 1, 2, 3. Excuse me. So how I use line charts is when this level is broken and closed through by a lower time frame candle. I used to say it had to be the same or the higher, but obviously if you're waiting for the same, you're going to wait until this candle closes way down here, which is way too late. So let's use this as a minor example. We'll put a vertical on it, and then we'll drop down to the M30, say for example. M30 didn't help at all because let me just double check that again because I'm out of practice with this. Yeah, we want the lower one. So the M30 didn't really help us at all, but the M15 may. Yeah, so there's, we've got a close. We close through that level and look what happens. That collapses with absolutely no drawdown. That is the power of line charts. If we do that, and remember this isn't cherry picked, we can then see, take the scroll off. I always do this, I always go off topic, but then we can see how we could have preempted even that M15 and break through that line chart with this M5 one. And as you can see, that's pulled back, but it has done what I suggested it does. So, and I can do this. I can show you 1,000 examples of these, but I don't need to, because as I say to all my followers on Twitter, you have to do the screen time. You have to just use my ideas and my lines in order to, because I've done the 20,000, the 60,000 hours, the 20 years of screen time. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know I've got something like 47,000 tweets up there, and I've slowed down in the last two years probably. It should be around 60,000 tweets, but you know, I'm banging my head against the wall. I've got to find a better way to focus on the people that really, really matter. And Twitter, excuse me, Twitter is low quality traffic, if you like, low quality followers. I'm seeing, I don't know what I've got, nearly 15,000. There's probably 150. What's that? 0.1% or something like that of followers actually get involved and interact. So got to find a better way of finding people that interact, and that is with all due respect to the people that interact. You know, I love you all and appreciate everything. So anyway, we've talked about how line charts work and how they are far superior to wick highs and lows, and hopefully you've just seen the value of that. Now if we go back to the H1, we'll show you another thing. I'll leave those levels on, they're the big white ones that I manually drew on there. But what I wanted to talk about also, this template I've built here is the result of those 20 years of staring at charts, and the damage that does to your mental state in the early days. It's why 90% fail well into, you know, into the first year, months even, because they'll either blow fortunes, which is what I want to try and help you guys avoid. But getting back to this template, the pivots, for example, they've been on and off my charts for daily pivots. These are for years. I probably came across them. I don't know. Everyone talks about pivots in year one or whatever. I had the moving averages on my charts. They work extremely well. Moving average traders, people will tell you moving average are rubbish. They're not rubbish. Everything works. But for me personally, I prefer the precision, and most ex-professional traders I know prefer the precision, scalpers especially, of candle highs and lows, and the open OLC, whatever it is, OLHC, open high low close, no, OHLC, open high low close. Sorry, I'm still really foggy with the cold and hard to speak as well, but we'll work through it. So pivots on and off my charts for ages. There are people that trade pivots alone. I can highly recommend the best place to learn to trade is forums like Baby Pips and Forex Factory and Forex TSD if it's still around, for Elite something or other I used to use, but I don't even know whether they're still there. The main go-to is Forex Factory because I know my way around that and I know how to find indicators. All my indicators are free. Some of them have been custom built for what I do, and I'll talk about that in other videos. Quickly, Aaron built this one for me, the Rebel Ant 3CR. Intrepid Noodle, I think he still goes by. Rebel Ant, yeah, Intrepid Noodle on Twitter, excuse me. Struggling here. Daily open lines. That's this thing. I've put it in bold now because I realised it was the power of it is just unbelievable with what I do. Price will come down and test it multiple times. The DXY, the dollar index, the reason I just flicked through this, I haven't looked at it for a long while, but I just happened to notice it was bouncing all around between my levels, and this tends to happen with the you know, don't hold me to this, but it does. I've noticed it happens a lot with certain indices. I noticed this week it was working well with the US Tech, US 100, whatever else you call it, NAS. They all love it actually. It's quite funny because this is another off-the-cuff thought I've had this week. I mean, I've got thousands of theories and thousands of thoughts, and I would love to be able to build up a statistical analysis of all sorts. I mean, in the old days, people used to do it with hammer candles, James 16 thread on Forex Factory. They'd work out the probabilities of what happens if a price breaks a hammer high for longs and a hammer low for an inverted hammer low. They'd work out the probabilities, 80% win rate and stuff like that. You could do it with the tests, you could do it with the closes, you could do it with the tests of the daily opens, you could do the pivots, you could build up massive statistical data, but we don't have time as traders, you know. Or I mean, I've done too much analysis, to be honest with you, over the 20 years. Another thought, another reason I'm here is because I want to shorten your journey as a new trader to getting to profitability. You know, I mentioned another post I mentioned on Twitter. I spent far too much trying to learn everything, learning about fibs, learning about pivots, doing all the analysis, learning about moving averages, learning about linear weighted moving averages compared to EMAs, exponential moving averages, slow moving averages, simple moving averages, VWAP, and all that stuff, and all the fancy market profile stuff. I like that stuff, and I'm considering adding it back to charts to play with that. But I'm trying not to frighten people away that I've been wrongly taught that indicators don't work, because they do work, and that's why I've sort of tried to parse down my indicators on here. I mean, the Sonic Dragon. I mean, Sonic DJ on another guy on Forex Factory that I studied until my eyes bled, because I was well into Elliott Wave. I was well into the wave structure of Elliott Wave, although I think that's so overcomplicated. I think it works really, really extremely well for long-term traders, swing traders, that I cannot do. I have to admit, I don't have the patience for it. I'll calculate or plan a swing trade like I did for gold once, and it was 155 pip swing. You got to about 35 pips and I had to close it. I could not bear to watch it pull back. I don't see the point in swing traders taking pullbacks or suffering pullbacks when I can take 5 trades in one swing on a 5-minute trend. So, which is an M33CR, by the way. 3CRs are another thing. I have done it, got the t-shirt 1,000 times over with trading, and I could spend hours and hours talking these videos. I think I need to do a streaming thing, pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it, to actually get to grips with it. But I don't want, you get all the spammers and scammers and negative Nellies and all that stuff to deal with, and it's just toxic, to be honest with you. So somehow I've got to work out how to do the job where a small group of people can, like my people, can really drill down and get involved without all the stupid distractions that you get from the internet. People have all sorts of different reasons. What are they called? Trolls, trolling people. I heard a very, very good, sorry I'm going off topic a little bit, but we're going to have to do some sort of streaming where you can do a Q&A and we can just shoot the breeze. I watched a streaming video the other day that went on for 6 hours, and it was riveting. And the guy was absolutely fantastic. But it was sad to see the toxic stuff going on in the background with complete idiots. So I'm not sure how, as a streamer, say for example, trader streamer, you blot out those people. I haven't worked it out. If you follow my Twitter, sorry I'm digressing again, but again, if someone can watch a video for 6 hours, I implore you to keep watching this and just... my videos are rather long-winded, but after seeing that 6-hour video, I realised that there are people that really do hang off decent people's words, and it made me really think, which is why I put this video together today, despite this rotten cold that I wouldn't be surprised if it goes on for another 4 weeks, to be honest with you. It's just, it goes away a little bit, I can taste a bit of food, and then I can taste nothing. It's horrid, because I love my food. I live for food, to be honest with you, good food. Anyway, and I live for trading and charts. So, back to the point. I've done fibs. I could have the Sonic Dragon on here. I could trade it like a god, as it were, without blowing my own trumpet. But these levels, the pivots, the Fibonacci's, the daily open line, don't even go there with the weekly pivots as well. We've got daily pivots on here. Weekly pivots, I could have them on my charts and trade them. The other day it occurred to me, literally 2 days ago. I'm going over stuff that I've learned about and studied for months and months at a time. All the moving averages, all your different stuff, all your VWAPs, all your market profiles, these funny little triangles that you get. I've studied the lot, and now when I go back to it, I've said this many times to the few people that actually listen to me on Twitter. I've said this many times. You go back over stuff that you've learned. It's not wasted time. I don't regret the 20 years that I've spent learning to trade, because everything that I've studied all adds value to the new stuff that, like the 3CR. I've had the 3CR on my charts now, not Aaron's indicator, but I've had the 3CR. I developed it from the 2B reversal. So let's go way, way back. I found trading, couldn't believe it looked so amazing. Indicators all over people's charts. And I remember saying to someone, I said, is this real? Does this really happen? Do you make money trading? And they laughed at me. They said, yes, of course we do. And I thought, I just could not believe it. At the time, I was transitioning from a bricks and mortar business, which I sold, to internet businesses. All the old thing, affiliate marketing. One business I needed a website for, and I taught myself to build websites, just personal ones, and then eventually all the other stuff as well, Google AdWords, AdSense, all that. But that's way back. But I was transitioning from that, and you know, if you're online 24 hours a day or whatever, working online, way back when the internet was just a baby, you're getting bombarded with all this stuff, and FX was one of the things, and that's how I got started. Really, it just popped up like it does. I couldn't believe it was actually real. People did it. Excuse me. Anyway, that's my background, and that was it. I was hooked. Excuse me. So then I got involved with. I made it my business first off to make sure it was a sustainable business, which is what, as a businessman, since I was in my 20s, self-employed. I'm now 60 odd. Don't go there. But I feel about 25 still. In my head, that is, not in my body, sadly. But when I got involved with trading, the first thing I did was go back and make sure it was actually sustainable. People were really doing it. People were really making money. Brokers actually paid out and all that stuff. And I set about finding ex-professional traders. Well, first off, it was traders that were doing the job and making money and taking money out of the system. Then I looked back to see how sustainable it was back then, 20 years ago, whatever that is, 2003, 2004, something like that. I think I actually started way before then, nearer 2000. But you could take your charts back. I remember the euro used to go, it was something else. I can't even remember what it was called now. It'll come to me. But it had 20 years of data even back then. It went back to the 1980s. So did cable. So GBP USD. So you could look back, and I looked back then, and I saw the stuff that people were trading today. Then 20,000 or whatever it was, 2000. The patterns were still working, and back then it was MA crossovers and Elliott wave and stuff like that, and it still looked exactly the same. And I found this guy that was selling memberships, and one thing which way back then was almost impossible. So what I did was, sorry, I'm digressing now, but it maybe add value to you. What I did then was set about finding people that were on the forums and that seemed knowledgeable, and they probably had 3 or 4 or 5 years under their belt, and they were still helping on forums for free. That's why I suggested forums. Forgot to mention why. Forums are self-policing. They don't, unlike Twitter and IG Index, not IG, sorry, slip of the tongue. Instagram, they have no policing. YouTube, no policing. Anyone can charge you anything they like. Anyone can blatant lies. Oh, one great one I saw recently. I've actually taught thousands of professional traders. They're profitable traders. I've got 500 profitable traders under my belt. It's all lies. How they get away with it? But forums self-police. They turn idiots like that into commercial and virtually close them down. And if you're stupid enough to buy stuff off say for example, the commercial section of Forex Factory, then I think they say to themselves, you deserve to fail. You deserve to be ripped off. But no one in the free forums and sub-forums and whatnot, threads, can sell anything. So they're self-policing by that fact. So back to my start. I found these people that had talked a lot of sense. Then I set about finding professional traders, ex-city traders. There are a few of them about. I've mentioned many of them on Twitter. And then I started to cross-reference everything, as it were. So I'd made sure it was sustainable, I'd made sure it was real, I made sure I found real people. And then I did find one guy, and this is the point I was getting to, that was selling gear. And how I verified him was I asked the ex-professional traders, and I asked the ones that were genuinely making money, not selling anything. They were showing, they were talking. One guy in particular used to talk about every time he made a good trade, he'd buy his wife a kitchen, or he'd buy a new car for her. And he was he was a professional musician. Excuse me. And you know what they say, professional sportsmen, musicians, all these sort of surgeons and whatnot would knock 10 bales out of a trader in terms of their intelligence and the quality of how they focus themselves, the repetitive training. And that's what we have to do. No one understands that at the start, that you have to train your brain to cope with the adrenaline, really. I don't talk about over trading, really. I talk about adrenaline trading because it affects us all. And I know when I get a big winning trade, I'm on top of the world. And I can do anything. And there's one reason for that. It's adrenaline. So when you get a good trade, you have to teach yourself to understand that adrenaline kicks in and understand that you are not a god of trading. You built a plan, you executed your plan, it made money, and it's no different than any other trade. But that is the hardest thing. You must all traders with experience must agree with this and accept it. You only fail. I have a saying on my Twitter feed. You fail because you are the weakest link. You allow the adrenaline to kick in and you think you can trade the socks off, and that is when you lose a trade, and it's called revenge trading, whatever you want to call it. And that is when you double down and double down again, and you blow your accounts and you're back to square one, and you feel the most miserable thing in the world then. So you've gone from god of trading to scum of trading, all because of that adrenaline. So you've got to either walk away if you can't control it, calm down. It might take a day or two, not just hours, and open your charts. I don't know, give yourself a slap in the face, or go and have a cold bath or shower or whatever, and then your next trade is planned and traded without the adrenaline, without the God syndrome. Okay, I've gone off topic yet again. I was talking about the 3CR and how I devised it. So I found this mentor. I actually paid the guy. Dozens of us did, actually. And I think one other person I know is still studying charts. One out of probably 50. the guy, the mentor, it's not the mentor's fault. It is because no one can teach you to trade. They can teach you little aspects of trading, just like I can, but you have to develop your own method from what other people appear to be doing correctly. And this guy, the most valuable thing he taught me was probably an off chance comment that two of us in the group decided to chase down, and he mentioned a chart pattern. All he did was just mention this chart pattern. It was a 2B reversal, and I think he may have done an hour or so with us. We all used to log into this live room and every morning and watch the charts, and you know, he was trading hourly and M30 charts. Really would not go lower, but even so, and it was all MA driven, but he made out that they were special MAs to hook us in fishing. But and that's what people do, although, you know, sometimes I think, well, maybe that 3CR is like that to people, but it isn't. It's not a fishing job. It's not trying to tell you it's the holy grail. It works extremely well. But he told us about the 2B. He told me, well, no, the group, about the 2B reversal. He just happened to mention it. He didn't say he'd studied it. He didn't say tell us to trade it. I think he just to kill time, because, you know, we could all be sitting in that room for 2 hours and not find a trade, and that might happen for 2 days in a row or 3 days in a row. So to kill time, he just pulled it up on the chart and said, look, what this is Vic Sperandeo's 2B reversal. So you've got to remember all these UICT, SMC, CRT, love boys, you know, all you little fanboys of all these latest things. Vic Sperandeo and Wyckoff before, but the only thing, once I found the 2B, I studied Wyckoff for a while, but I didn't need to, because the 2B, once we'd watched it work off those levels, in my opinion, it was far superior. So I don't even really remember. I think Wyckoff was ages before Vic Sperandeo found it. I might be wrong, and I apologise to both people or their families or whatever if some are dead. Wyckoff, I know Vic is still alive. He's about 80 now or something. But Vic probably looked at Wyckoff and developed his 2B from it and thought, this is better, which I agree. It's the precision of the 2B reversal blew my mind away. And two of us, actually, we used to go to each other's houses, which wasn't a mean feat. It was 50 miles away. We'd meet up in pubs, we'd study charts together. Two of us studied and were blown away with the 2B reversal. And we actually studied it for months and months on 1 minute charts. I remember it clearly, it was on oil. Back in those days, oil was a monster, but so was euro yen, and I think euro used to be called the Bund, the German mark, Deutschmark, wasn't it? Of course it was. Back then, euro yen and they used to call GJ the Beast, pound yen the Beast, because it would move. That both of them would move probably 600 pips. You know, they turned them into 5. They added a decimal place and messed around with all of them. But you know, the average daily range now, or you know, ADR of GBP and euro yen is, I think euro yen is 100-ish, although it's got more volatile recently. Sorry, I realise I'm talking quietly now because of my throat. And the GJ used to move 500. Crazy monster. As I say, it was called the Beast. Everyone was told to stay away from it by this mentor. Anyway, 2B reversal. I realised the power of single candles and horizontal lines. That's when everything else took a back seat. All the moving averages, all the squiggly lines, VWAPs and all that lot. I didn't need it. Precise levels, wick highs, which is what the 3CR is, and that I developed the 3CR as a result of the 2B reversal, But trend analysis, the 3CR, 3 candles, that's what 3CR means, 3 candle reversal, is just a trend. I can show you this one. This is perfect. Again, I didn't cherry pick it. I've waffled. I didn't even intend to talk about 3CRs or 2Bs in this video. It was just reminder. It was just really to remind people that are new to trading not to pay anyone any money that is a get rich quick. In my opinion, anyone with under 10 years experience, so that irons out all the most of the ICT people, not all, because some people it's perfectly tradable, but you know, all the little what I call baby ICTers and SMCers, and now the CRT guy that has basically stolen the 3CR, all of those people are just scammers taking your money and teaching stuff they don't even know how to trade themselves. Anyway, back to the 3CR. This is a trend. Trends have 5 swings. Swing 1, swing 2, swing 3, swing 4, the pullback, swing 5, the continuation. And that's a trend. High, low, lower, high, lower, low. Pullback, continuation. High, low, lower, high, lower, low. Because this low hasn't been broken, that is just the lower high. And then this is the lower low. Broken that, but I use the closes now, which I need to think about with 3CRs. I've got what I call the line chart 3CR or the open closed 3CR, another story altogether. But as you can see, when the wick got closed through, and I can use lower time frames now, excuse me, as I explained earlier on with these white lines, price has gone down. So I've covered loads of stuff here. I haven't covered half the stuff I intended to, which is how price reacts to these levels, my levels. Even this I meant to talk about. Old pivot points will be used as targets. This is 3 days away, and that's a daily pivot. That's a daily open. What came first, the pivot 3 days ago, or whatever it is, 4 days ago, or the daily open, or did that create this congestion area here and here? Old S1 would have been used as a potential target, and I trade these. I call them magnets. Look at that, there and there. So I don't trade to the extremes a lot of the time unless I'm using 1 minute charts and multi-time frame analysis using these things here. I will trade to these extremes, but I will trade for whatever other reason to the low of that one first, and if that closes below the low of that with a minute chart and does all the stuff, and this all is multi-time frame agreement, then I'll trade it down to that next level. I can do that as a scalper. I can trade up, down and sideways, trading using old 3CR levels to test. That's another way to trade. Open, high, low, close, daily open levels, a way to find a trade. Pivots, a way to find a trade. Tests of old recent levels to find a trade. It's going to test that because people that have taken a down move here create this up move, and people will want to get back into the down move, so they'll put their stops above the high of that. So I can trade that stop loss. That's what I was trading Friday. You know, all of this stuff, people say, stop hunts are nothing, tests and retests are nothing. Look, just on that 2B, that 3CR there, that support wick got tested by that resistance. So I trade tests and retests. I use that. I haven't used that on my Twitter feed for years, well, months, ages and ages. But I trade tests and retests of old pivots. You know, we talked about this here. Tests and retests of support acting as resistance. How do you know? And this is the true meaning of fair value, not that shitty, excuse my French, fair value gap thing that all the ICT fanboys and fangirls want to trade. This is a true fair value test. How do we know if that's gold tested that at 2,500? How do we know that is fair value unless we come back and test it to see whether the buyers want to get back into the market, or the sellers of the sellers of the day, these guys have actually reversed it. We've got to test that level, and that's what we trade, test and retest. And here, when people consider going down again on a lower time frame, we're on H1, remember, on a 1 minute or 5 minute time frame, the people that are going short here and here realize that's a sensitive level there, and they will push back and test it. So I can trade the first test, not a second or third test, although that's a whole new story from my original mentor 18, 19 years ago, a year after or 2 years after I got started at this. But because he had, he used to say you get 3 or 4 tests of a level in order to go up, and finally, you'll make higher lows because the sellers are losing their momentum. So it'll go like this. It'll go high, down, low, not down so far, high again, not down so far again, and finally the fourth test, it used to be, will be the one you want to trade up. And that was part of his strategy. It was truly amazing, and I'll never forget that. That's 19 years ago or whatever, but it still works. And as I said earlier in this video, I know it's a long video now, as I said earlier, all the stuff that you do over the years that you possibly can't get your head around will have value in 5 or 10 or 20 years, in my case, time. And that is why my trading, and that's part of what I was hoping to explain here, that is why I learn and remember new stuff every day and share this stuff every day. And I apologized on Twitter. I apologize to people if it sounds like I am just exploding with new ideas at a rate that a lot of people can't keep up with. It's because when you've learned this stuff and you've seen this stuff in the past, over 60,000 hours or whatever it might be now, you cannot fail to have a eureka moment where it all comes back. So I'm going to stop this now in case I muff it up. There's thousands of things I could talk about in my videos, and hopefully when I get settled abroad in the lands of eternal beaches and sunshine and good food, I am intending to structure my day because I intend to be in hot countries, and it's going to be too hot a lot of the time, which is perfect for me as a trader and perfect for where I want to continue this journey with the people that want to continue with me. It's going to work out brilliantly, but I'm not going to rush it. There's no need for rush. This occurred to me the other day. I use an expression on the Twitter feed, walk thoughts. I walk a lot every day. I try and get 10 miles in most days if I can, and swim, and I'll be cycling, and I'll be doing all sorts when I'm abroad, mountain climbing, you name it. I'm going to do it a lot, but I won't be able to for 12 hours a day. So I can A, trade, don't need long to trade and make money, B, spend a lot of time making videos, hopefully helping you guys, whoever needs the help. It will be behind a paywall, and I haven't got a clue how that will happen, but there's only one way to get really, really focused on helping people, and that's really just helping the people that are deadly serious about this, not brand new noobs. Apologies to you guys that are newer at this, but if I can convert one of you from making the same mistakes as 90% of us make, which is load up live account, blow it. Load up another live account, blow it. I said on Twitter recently, you will think you've cracked trading. I should have said this at the start, actually. You will think you've cracked a trading game maybe a dozen times or more. Maybe you're lucky or less. But every time you crack it, you think you've cracked it, and load up your account with money and then blow it because you've doubled down on bad losses, your adrenaline's kicked in. I used the expression yesterday. Even the 1% risk guys blow accounts because they risk 1% on a swing trade. They can't cope with like me, I said earlier about this gold trade that should have gone 155. It did go 155. That's why I used that exact number. But I couldn't hold it past 35. Actually, I remember it clearly because those dips are unnecessary to scalpers. You know, those pullbacks goes up to 50, comes back to 30, goes up to 100, comes all the way back to 30 again, and then goes up to the 155 or whatever. No need, because I know, and scalpers know, they can get in every valid pullback, which is what I teach with these momentum indicators. So I've digressed again, gone totally off topic, so much so that I forgot what I was talking about. So I better stop now before I muff this up. But guys, we can only get better and better. Apologies for not making a video. I've explained why this rotten cold. I don't know when I'll make another video, but once I get settled abroad, I'm potentially going to be abroad for the rest of my life, traveling, which is what I want to do. Personal reasons have stopped it happening up until now. I did intend to go last year and it didn't happen, but this year it's going to happen. And everything, as a trader, yeah, I know what I was going to say. The best thing trading has taught me is never rush anything. You know, I intended to travel 4 or 5 years ago. All sorts of reasons have stopped it, family reasons and whatnot. And I've realised now, you know, I've told friends that I'm going abroad and they'll say, oh, when you going, when you going? And it's like, well, I haven't got a rush. And I realised trading has taught me I'm so chilled now, and it's trading that's taught me that. It's hard to even describe, but I bet you, and I nearly put this on Twitter the other day, I bet you the real traders, the ones that are making money from trading, and it is a tiny, minuscule number, 1%, 5%, whatever, of everyone that tries it. I believe actually it's as the internet grabs hold of more and more instant millionaires, what the brokers used to say was an average of 86%. It was roughly, give or take a few percent. Some go 76 because they have to produce these figures. Those figures will be skewed anyway because there'll be people that have managed to keep a £10 account live trading pennies for years. And oh, I didn't even finish the comment about the 1% guys, did I? 1%, they risk, and then they double it to 2% to recoup their risk, then they double it to 4% to recoup that even bigger risk, and all of a sudden they've blown their account up. So I don't care who you talk to, but so that's that comment finished. The other guys, the brokers are reporting figures that will almost certainly be skewed. So if they say 76, 84, 86% of their real money traders lose money, meaning 40% or 14 rather, between, I don't know what, 25 and worst case I think is about 25 and 13% are actually profitable. That'll include all these guys playing with pennies to massage the numbers. I truly believe, because of the quality of people that are being dragged into trading, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, that those numbers now are massive. 99.9%, 0.01% are probably the ones that make money. And getting back to my point, the guys that are making money are going to be the most laid back people you will ever meet, in my opinion. The real guys that are making money are going to be the ones spending time on beaches, playing golf 7 times a week. The swing traders that can do it well, you know, we all know a few. I mean, I'm going to mention DAX 40. You won't ever listen to what I'm talking about. But DAX 40 on Twitter, the real deal, institutional trader. But I couldn't do what he does. I admire him beyond reproach, beyond belief, because he can do what he does. But I will say one thing, and I'm sure he would probably agree with this. Huge money allows you to, play with 0.1% or whatever in swing trades and have the confidence. But retail traders trading at home will struggle with anything less than, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 grand, risking 0.5%. And even then, if you don't know what you're doing and you allow adrenaline to kick in, you're going to blow it. But there are clever traders. Steve-O, I gather, has done an amazing job swing trading. Again, Steve-O, if you're watching this, thanks for all the support, mate. I appreciate it. Or Stevie-O. Steve-O, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. Just O after the E. Steve, I've got so much admiration for what you do. And, you need more followers. Thousands more. Times it by 10 for what you do. And so that's it. Apologies, guys. A few shout outs there, or a couple, should I say. There are dozens of people that I admire. But you have to sift through hundreds of thousands of scammers online now to find the real people. But going back to my point about being relaxed, I mean, everything now I do, I say to my friends, health permitting, I'm going to have the best 10, 20 years of my life, hopefully. Hopefully I'll get to 80 being healthy. Because I wish I'd done what I'm considering doing now 20 years ago. But things happen for a reason. I was far less chilled out, even, way before... Well, no, actually, that's a lie. But that's another story. I cannot believe how chilled out I am now. Nothing phases me, really, unless, actually, I'd revert to adrenaline trading. And that is why I know that will be everyone's Achilles heel, trading after adrenaline. Because even after 20 years, I still make losing trades because I think I am a trading god. And I give myself a real hard slap around. But the beauty about it now is I don't revenge trade. I don't, I've overtraded, using the term perfectly right, although I prefer adrenaline trading to overtrading. But I've actually overtraded on adrenaline. But unlike my old self, I don't revenge trade. I would never double up a size of a trade, which I used to do. I would, I just trade my way out of trouble. Sometimes I can quadruple my losses just by scalping the same or lower sizes in the same day. And that isn't revenge trading. Revenge trading, in my opinion, is when you lose 100 quid or 1,000 or 10,000 and you set out to make that 100,000 or 10,000 or $100, whatever, pounds, back by doubling up. Let's say, for example, you traded five lots. My old self, and lost. My old self would trade 10 lots. Never. Just half the targets, use the same size as usual, and then just set out to find 4 or 5 scalp trades using less money and even having less targets, working to get that money back. And I call that sort of a recovery. You've got to have a recovery plan, and I talked about this ages ago on Twitter. Anyway, I need to stop now. God knows how long this video is, but it's going to take an age to upload. So thanks for watching. Apologies for all the rants and the preaches, but I promise you, if you follow me and if you study what I do, there's 1,000 odd videos documenting my progress since roughly COVID, and a little before. There's a couple from 7 years ago based on the 2B reversal, but other than that, most of my stuff has been because I had to sit down during COVID lockdown and find something to do with myself, and I decided to reinvent my trading, as it were. So anyway, thanks for this. I hope some of you watch this right the way through. I hope some of you get some value from it, and I promise you I have so much to offer in terms of helping you avoid the pitfalls I made, avoid the time it took for me to get here, hopefully by decades actually, and avoid losing fortunes like I did. So that's it. That's why I'm here, guys. Traders helping traders is a hashtag I use quite a lot. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.